Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Let's Just Talk with Kim. And of course, I'm Kim. And I'm glad to have you here. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share with your family and friends. Go to Facebook. I'm on Facebook, people, live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So check me out, click it, and share on your page so your family can join the conversation. Today, we are talking about giving back to our community. And I have one of my very good friends with me, a man you have. I practice. I practice.
You ain't practice hard enough.
A man you tap. A
Amen.
man you.
Amen.
Amen you tap. Okay. Amen you tap.
Amen. Just
I
Mr.
kept
Parker.
saying it. I ain't calling you no Mr. Parker. And the funny thing is, I listened to your video last night and I kept playing back when you said your name. It's still screwed up.
Just
But
amen.
anyway, Amen
Hotep.
Hotep
Right.
James Parker. And he is the sixth generation. I looked at that last night when I was just touching up some stuff and was like, my God, six generations. So go ahead. Now, I call you Abdul. Is it okay if I call you Abdul tonight?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Nisi Poo. Um, so go ahead and tell the people about yourself.
Well, as Kim said, my name is Amanhotep James Parker. I'm the CEO of the Ethel Zachary Foundation, where we cultivate and educate inner city youth along with their communities. Um, the foundation has a variety of programs from the Talented 10th that deals with the inner city youth that I was just describing, and another program which is Mamie's House that deals with the community. We also have a domestic violence program that helps women in regards to teaching them preventive measures in regards to noticing an abuser firsthand, and also we have tools and things to help women get out of domestic violence situations. We partner with a variety of people, well, to seek help for these women to get out of those situations. We have a mentoring program that's infused with the Talented 10th to educate the youth and help them with life development. And we also do awards for the community. Um, the biggest award, well, the most current one is like a reoccurring award, is the Scholar of the Month,
Mm.
where we students are recommended to us, or we just select students. Actually, I just selected the student today. She's my niece. That wasn't why she was selected. Her mom just happened to put a Facebook post of hers up. I'm not sure. I'm not. I can I share on your thing too?
Do you have a share button? I don't think so.
Yeah, I do. We both got the
Oh, go
same
ahead.
program. So let me see here. Let me see. I don't want to take all day, so if I can't find
Yeah,
it,
please don't.
uh,
Can you talk and do that?
no, I can't find it. So anyway, so she had a GPA of I think it was like 4.23 or something like that,
Mm,
and immediately I suggested to the mom that she could be the student of the month. So
okay.
normally the student of the month, well, scholar of the month, they have two requirements. You got to have a GPA of 2.8 or better. So that's basically a B minus. And you have to have some type of extracurricular activity
Mm-hmm.
or community involvement. We do this to let the students know that, you know, we're still, it's somebody paying attention to what you're doing in school. Um, our target, like I said, is inner city youth. Um, now we how can I say? Now we give back as far as like feeding the community.
Mm-hmm.
We give out laptops to the students, but like I said, our main target is the inner city youth. Um, Today's youth are some of them on a path that I would say of self-destruction, and it deals heavily with the parenting of some of the youth at home.
Mm.
And we want to, you know, to help the parents to see that, hey, it's a better way for you to go at this thing besides the direction that you're guiding your children at. Um, Currently, what we have going on in the foundation, like I said, the student of the month, on December 9th at 7 o'clock on Urban Facts. That's a little Facebook Live thing we do ourselves. We'll be interviewing Miss Morgan Hilton, and she's a teacher in Camden School District. So she'll be discussing with us the ins and outs of being a teacher in that school district. We recently had a parenting forum just Saturday, um, and I brought on a variety of parents,
Hmm.
to just help people see that, it's different facets to parenting, to having your child be of good character, helping your kids select friends, being young and parenting, and also what was the other one? Of dealing with adult children in today's society. We really, well, my biggest thing for the foundation is to get these parents to a place to where as though they see their kids as a priority,
Hmm.
just not somebody that they're cohabitating with. Because that's to me, that's what it seems like is happening. I get a
Before
lot
you
of
go in a little more deep, I do want to understand, like, how did you get here? What made you be the develop this foundation? I think of you as a humanitarian because you're always looking for opportunities to give back to the community. You're very knowledgeable of our community, of what's going on, the days and the times. So I wanted to know, like, what first started you getting into this? I know you studied African American history in college. Is that what kind of geared you into this type of programs and things of this nature?
no, actually, I had, I guess I could say I was reintroduced to like a close family friend. I call him a family member, Mr. Derek Wallace, and I forget what, I think I just took pictures for his clothing line, I believe, and
Oh, okay.
he shot me a text and said, "Hey, Amos." He always called me Amos. He works at called my name than you are, and he said, "Hey, you should teach kids how to shoot photography. Something to get them off the streets." And at the time, I was doing Uber, so I would go out and do Uber probably like quarter to 4 in the morning. Sometimes
Hmm.
like 3:30, and the kids would be at the gas station, and this was in West Philly. I was living in West Philly, and like I said, it would be like 3:30, quarter to 4, and there's kids
Hmm.
out there asking for change to pump gas,
Yeah.
and these guys would be anywhere between like it'd be like 10 to 18, and I would always see a older guy, over there, I guess monitoring them, and I hope he was making sure that they were safe. So I ran with the idea. My mentor just happens to do um, the paperwork for 501(c)(3)s, and I said, "Hey Doc, I want to do this foundation to help kids teach photography." And he said, "Well, a nonprofit has an array of options that you can do in there." And I said, "For real?" So he said, "Yeah, you can do like anything." And he said, "Well, come back and you gotta give me your vision and what you want to do, and you need like some board members and all this stuff." And I just told Rick he was on the board, and he was like, "Oh, okay." like people that I was just like, see, that's one thing about relationships. It's good if you could just call somebody and be like, hey, I
Absolutely.
need you to do this, and then they along with it. The board that I have, the original board, which consisted of my brother, myself, Rick, and a guy I was in the military with, they just was like on board. You know what I mean? And you need people like that that'll just be like, hey, I got your back. So, we started that. I came up with the programs, and here we are today. The first two original programs was the Town of the 10th and Mamie's house. Mamie is a nickname from my aunt that excuse me, her grandkids would call her her original name, her real name is Shelva Jean Davidson.
Hmm.
And she would always, take people and feed them, try to, just try to help the community. So I thought it was not robbery to name the program after her. So
Okay.
currently we fed the community at K&A. We done that twice. We're currently trying to, do a Thanksgiving food drive in Point Breeze. So we really just try to go out to areas where the people need help. Like it's
Hmm.
not going to do anybody any good in Chestnut Hill if we giving out sandwiches out there, or um, some what's that there?
Higher
Like
income
right,
communities. Yeah.
right, the higher income or middle class communities, because those guys don't need the help. And
Right.
just being in K&A and you doing this type of work, like everybody to me now is like somebody's child, because that's the target that we looking for. I mean that we, that's the target that we help. So when I was out there, me and the staff, I didn't see drug addicts. I seen somebody's child that just, went astray. You know what I mean? So that's why we try to. Well, that's why we doing this now. We ain't trying anything, because it's enough trying. People just need to do. You know what I mean? So people will say or drive past there and say, "Well, oh wow, that's such a shame. Like somebody need to do something," or they talk about the kids and be like, "Well,
Hmm.
where the parents at?" And we ain't asking where the parents at. You know what I mean? We trying to get in contact with the parents. We interviewed Mr. James Lambert. That was the elderly gentleman that was attacked on
Hmm.
January 24th by the 7 kids. And currently, two of the kids now are looking at murder. Mr.
Oh,
Lambert passed
Lord.
away from the incident. And we wanted to know, hey, how are you and your family doing? The foundation gave her some money, towards whatever they needed, just to make sure that, they could, keep along with the fight for her uncle. Um, it's kind of like a bitter sword. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet when you have situations like that,
Right.
because on one side, it's like we care about the kids that's looking at murder, and then on the other side, we care about Mr. Lambert's family. So this is why we trying to teach these parents that their parenting skills have to be like real tight. And when I say tight, I mean like you're not doing things that um that are allowing your kids to just do anything.
Right.
When I was younger, I used to live out Tasker Projects, so I'm not sure if you familiar.
That's my mom's stomping grounds. What you talking
Oh,
about?
okay, yeah. So you know how it is. So um, and my mom, the foundation is named after my mom. So Ethel Zachary
Hmm.
is my mom. So, but everybody called her Bonnie. Now, she wasn't June Cleaver, but she wasn't Peggy Bundy either. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So you couldn't just do anything but Bonnie, and it would go over with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like whatever she said, like that was it was golden right there. You had to do what my mom was saying in regards to her kids. I mean, and she tried to educate her nieces and nephews in the family. You know, the ones that wanted to like listen to her advice. But you know, her main priority was like me and my brother. So it was consequences to the things that I did. Now, like I said, she wasn't June Cleaver. Like, you know, her parenting skills could have been like much tighter too. And when I'm saying tighter, I mean like it could have been better than what they were.
Well,
That's
everybody can do better when you look back on it.
right,
We could all do better.
right. But what we're saying is the foundation is that these parents see some people, it's like some people are like really ashamed to say my mom was a horrible parent. It's nothing wrong with saying that
Hmm.
because now I'm not trying to shoot down anybody, mom, and I ain't trying to encourage people to just, you know, start shooting their parents down or whatever like that. But you have to realize that if your parent had bad parenting skills, then you have to realize that. Because if you apply those same skills that your parents did to your kids, then you know your kids can wind up where you at or worse. It
Right.
depends on if the parenting is bad though. You understand what I'm saying? And some people, some you know, some individuals in the city, they live in dysfunctional homes, but they don't even realize, which was myself, that you living in dysfunction.
True. Until somebody pointed out to you know, or you get a look at someone else. Like sometimes in the neighborhoods, you go to other people's homes as a kid, and
Right,
you see what a real structured, good structured family is, and those who parent better than what your parents do.
right. So, excuse me. With that being said, uh, I guess waking up to you know smoking weed every day, or um, your dad being drunk, or your mom being drunk, or you know
Hmm.
your mom having, uh, excuse me, how can I say, um, Tom, Dick, and Harry coming in your house, and all them your uncle. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's not a proper environment for kids. You know what I mean? Because these kids, like they're sponges. Like I explained on you know a couple episodes or Urban Facts that these children are like new sponges.
Hmm.
So whatever you apply that sponge to, the sponge rapidly like soaks it up. You dig what I'm saying? And if it's something that's like harmful, I mean, you can't harm a sponge, but something that will contaminate the sponge, let's just say like black ink, it's going to take a while to get that ink out. And some of these parents are letting black ink soak into their kids, and it's taking them a while for the ones that's actually trying to get the ink out. So when the
Hmm.
kids go to school, their behavior problems are bad. You know, they can't sit still because the parents haven't taught them proper behavior, you know, techniques, you know, what to do in public. You know, if
Right.
you go in front of a authority figure, which these teachers are, then, you know, you sit there and you pay attention to the lesson, not sitting there playing with your friend or playing with your cell phone. You know, playing, I don't know what the crap these kids play now. What is it? Fortnite or something like that.
Hmm.
But when you know, the kids, this is like the kids new. This is outside for the kids.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like they don't kids don't even go outside nowadays sometimes. And if they do, like I said, is the wee hours of the night. And I'm not saying kids that's like 17 and 18.
No.
These is like kids between like 10 and 14. And somebody on my
And
staff,
younger sometimes.
right? And somebody on my staff that was telling me it's a 10-year-old little boy um rides around her daughter's block all times of night. And he like the terror on his block. He's 10 years old. And we can already see like the progression that this little boy is going at.
Hmm.
But the parents don't. You know what I mean? Like some parents, some of these parents today are just either rebellious, excuse me, from the parenting technique that they parents had. Maybe the parents was too strict, or they just had bad parents, or they was in the system. You know, they kind of like bounce from like foster play, you know, foster system,
Mhm.
foster
Mhm.
system. And what we want to do is like I said, put information out so that for one, you can recognize like what's happening with you as a parent is absolutely wrong.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think you made it real clear, and so did Nada. She picked it up as well. Is when you was talking about the sponge and the black ink, because not only does it take a long time for it to come out, it also spreads everywhere that sponge goes. Anything you
right,
use that sponge for, that black ink is contaminating and spreading. So those behaviors almost become like a generational thing because you tend to parent the way you receive parenting.
right.
So yeah, it definitely is something that needs to change, and we need to get it break the cycle. Like Sharita said, it so did Nadia earlier, breaking the cycle of negative behaviors within the family that then
Right.
spill out into the community.
Yeah, we have to, like I said, is the talking just has to stop now because it's the violence in the city is primarily now within the last couple of weeks the violence primarily has been
Mhm.
anywhere between like 10 to 18, and it ain't just in Philadelphia. You know, we
Right.
had somebody was telling me about a 10-year-old girl in Florida, I think Orlando. She murdered this 41-year-old woman because the woman had a altercation with her mom. The mom was actually standing in back of the child, you know, as she shot her.
Mm.
Um, it's situations like that that need to come to a halt because what's happening is that excuse me, our youth, opposed to becoming the future, are now becoming the future of the streets. They're
Mhm.
being institutionalized at a young age, and it's almost like it's like kind of like going back to slavery. You know what I mean? Because what the masters were doing on the plantations were they were trying to keep the slaves uneducated about who they are as a person. You know, that's why, you know, if they ever went to like the churches on the plantation, like the masters would be the only ones with the Bible. So they will read and, you know, break down what the scriptures was to keep the slaves blind to who they really are as a person. And
Mhm.
they had this whole misconception of what the word master was in the Bible. This is what's happening now. And the parents are kind of like the slave masters, and the children are the slaves. Now, the only thing different is that the parents are ignorantly keeping the information from their kids about who they are as a person because the parents don't know who they are as a person. So you can't motivate somebody to be greater if you don't see yourself as being great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like if you satisfied, like if me and you in a hole and you content with being in there and I'm trying to get out, you're not gonna try to help because you find where you at. You know what I mean? And the worst thing about it is that now you're trying to encourage me that hey, there's nothing wrong with being in this hole. You know, like you know, we got everything we need right here.
Right. Right.
Why would you try to climb out? You know, it's a bunch of foolishness outside. You know, whatever you got to say to make me ignorant to the fact that being in this hole was fine. And
Mhm.
that's what's happening with these kids. But the parents, they're not even saying it because the kids are just watching what the parents are doing. You know what I mean? You can't. I remember back in the day when I used to live with my grandmother. I had to be like 5, and this was out West Philly, and I did something. I'm not quite sure exactly what it was, but the lady next door was Miss Eleanor, and she was like, "Boy, come here, what you do?" And she beat me like right there. And this was like the first time somebody besides Bonnie or Naomi beat me. I was like,
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
is happening right now? Know what I mean? So I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh yeah, like Naomi is not going for this. So she took me over there and told her what happened. And Naomi said, oh yeah. And then she took me in the house to meet me. Like that doesn't happen now. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
I'm not trying to encourage people to just randomly just be beating people's kids, especially not today.
However, but that was the more of the village concept
Right,
because I remember how growing up for myself, it was the same way. Like everybody, well, my mom, let me change that. My mom wasn't the mom that you could be hitting on her kids. So let me just correct that. However, you could correct me, and then you would put the fear in me is that you're going to tell
right.
my mom.
Yeah, it's no like these kids don't have any fear. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's no consequences. Like I've gotten a few calls from people where they're telling me that parents that they know say that they don't know what to do with their kids. Like the first time I heard this, a friend of mine was telling me her girlfriend had this her daughter, she couldn't control the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So she telling me this story, about how the daughter's fighting the mom and the daughter's out of control and the mom don't know what to do. And I'm thinking the daughter like 21, 22. So I'm like, well, how old is the daughter? She's like, the daughter 12. And I was like, she what? She 12. Like, well, I mean, I ain't advocating beating your kids, but my kids know what a whooping is.
Hello, hello.
But
All my kids, my nieces, nephews, all of
uh,
them.
and it's so bad that it's like when the parents are telling this to other people, like in front of the kids. So
Mm.
it's kind of like you putting like a gold seal on their behavior being bad. So if the parent is confessing it to somebody else, the kid is like, well, I can just run around and do whatever I want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
this is not what we want to see. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah, it
said,
has to be a behavior change. We have to step in more. One of the things, like it's very difficult for me to, especially even growing up. My son used to really didn't like this about me, but I seen something going down. I'm that one that's going to pull over.
right,
I'm going to stop what's going on because I'm always in the mindset that it could be my son. It could be my niece or my nephew. So I'm going to get into it and break it up so that they can at least stop. And I've been that way always. Like my son would be like, Mom, please. Only because he was concerned, of course, about
right.
me. And
Your
then the
well-being.
other thing is, now if something happened to you, Mom, now I got to jump in. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. Don't worry.
I mean,
But
but it's true.
he
What he's
is
saying is,
right.
is is
He
right.
is. But I can't just not. I mean, I think as adults in this day and age, we do too much of not wanting to get involved,
Right.
not taking action, just letting things go. Like I was talking with my nephew earlier, and he was mentioning how um, a group of teens, maybe about 30, rushed into a Wawa and stole, like, started taking everything out the Wawa. Even one guy, he showed me one little clip. He was taking the top part of the coffee thing. You can't even do nothing with that, but that's beside the point. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, like, in that moment, would I do anything? Probably not, because it's too much of a risk that something could happen to me. I'm not foolish. However, if I seen you on that TV, if I knew you and I seen you, we're gonna have some words. I was always that type of mom. I think that's why most of my son's friends loved me so, because I would never let them get away with foolishness.
Right.
Like I'm going to step to you, and then if you want to call your mom, because now your mom is going to jump in with me when she find out what you did.
Right. Right. Right.
So I just think in this day and age, people are just not invested as much as they used to. I think that's the reason why violence and crime has gotten to such a level be until it impacts you, you want to turn a blind eye to it.
It has to be. It just starts at home, and
Hmm.
we've been so, how can I say, focused on trying to, correct these parents that um we sometimes lose track of like the other programs that happen. You know what I mean? Like all the programs in the foundation reach back to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the domestic violence thing, like I don't care how, much somebody wants to get out the hood and, be a better person. That's kind of hard to do if you got one of your parents at home getting beat up.
Right. Right.
Um, and even with the, Mamie's house, we trying to give these people the the boost that they need to know that, hey, if you didn't finish school, you can go back. Or if your relationship with your parent is bad, then you need to mend that. And don't just settle for being a manager at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get in a corporate office or whatever like that. I was talking with a psychiatrist, somebody I know like a couple months ago, and she worked, deals with a lot of children, and she said that it's so hard to show these parents something better because, for one, they get government assistance. They stay in these government um, funded homes, like what's that there? Not PHA, but the other one. I forget the name of the program, but the government pays like half your rent,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they some of them barely have to work. I don't know if they still do the thing with welfare where you just do like 20 hours a week or whatever like that. You still
Right.
do
Right.
stamps, but the government is setting the inner city people up, well, mostly blacks, to fail. And like I said, if you don't know like your history, but I didn't say this, if you don't know your history, then it won't it won't really like ring, like a bell won't go off like, hey, they still trying to keep us like on the plantation. They still trying to like keep us down to prevent us from moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Before
why
you go a little further, I wanted to check this out for you. I don't know if you've seen this comment when you're talking about parents. Dwayne said there's no consequences for parents of for the parents of the actions of their children and children's behavior. A parent can be held up in court supposedly over truancy. Why no consequences beyond school?
I would say because, like I just said, the system is just trying to hold you know, blacks down. Well, inner city, the kids that's in the inner city. Well, majority of them is blacks. Because I was talking with a friend of mine maybe like a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
What Dewan just mentioned doesn't happen in in county schools. You actually get fined if your trash is out late. The parents get fined if the kids go to school late. The parents get fined if the kids miss a certain amount of days. Like here, it's so much happening with these inner city kids that it's almost like it's overwhelming. So the system is kind of like, well, it'll kind of like deal with itself. Like they have this system. Well, it's not a system, but it's a theory. It's the school to pipeline theory. Prison, the school to prison pipeline.
Okay.
And what happens is that if your child gets in so much trouble at school, they now send the child to like a reform school.
Mm-hmm.
And if the child doesn't reform there, like the next step is jail. You know what I mean? Well, these reform schools are like jail. So opposed to
Yeah.
having like, teachers aides outside the classrooms, it's security guards outside. And then it's police outside. And then there's bars on the windows. So in the back of the kid's mind, it's like this is jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like it's still like Jim Crow, but it's 2022. You know what I mean? And they said they try to do away with that system, but it it's just another way just to, they figure that, hey, if you in jail and you coming from like a bad family and then they'll know what family you come from. They're not really even trying to reform some of these kids. They just
Right.
rather just be like, hey, you're gonna probably wind up being like his uncle or his dad, so it's just better if he would be in, be in jail. But that shouldn't be the case. But
Right.
see, like I said, the parents are so ignorant to that fact that they don't even see that. And what happens in the inner city is that they blame the system, which the system is at fault at one point, but the system can't be at fault if your kid is the one going to school with the behavior problem. Like you have to say that, hey, I want you to make something out of yourself. And a
Mhm.
lot of these parents aren't saying that. Like when we had me and the kids' mom, we was when we was married and we had Maya, I was like, yeah, like because my dad was horrible, so I was like I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? So we had Amaya, and I did what I seen other parents do, when they had a newborn. So
Mhm.
I held her and changed her, and would talk to her, and little goofy stuff like that. Did, but it wasn't until my godfather started, educating me on what it meant to be a dad.
Right.
He
Right.
said, well, hey, you got to correct these kids when they get out of line. And he was telling me he didn't let his daughter watch a lot of TV because he didn't want his daughter to be confused by what was happening on TV and
Mhm.
what's happening like in real life. And that's a true thing too, because now they have all these shows like Power and
Yeah.
Empire and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
reality shows, and the parents let these kids watch these shows.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, I ain't gonna say is. If your kid just happened to be watching Power, then you really gotta explain to them like this is TV,
Right. It's not life. It's not. It's.
right?
Mm-mm.
So
Ain't
me
the
and
way
you
you
ain't
want to
about to
be.
go in the kitchen and start cooking up some coke and bagging it up, and we gonna start killing the.
And
That's
how
not
about
about
this? I'm not supporting you.
right,
Like in that they supported that it was a family
right,
trait at the end.
right.
That's not gonna
That's
be
like a
us.
family business. But
Yeah.
see, the parents. So like with the parenting skill, the parents are so engulfed in lifestyles like that that they 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 magnetize to that. They gravitate to that is what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. And the gravitating to that, all they can see is like a fast dollar sign. You know what I mean? So that's why I said it's
Everyone.
sort of like it's
Mhm.
still like slavery because when the slaves was on the plantation, all they could see was freedom. So if they had to burn down the master's house or escape or get their leg cut off or get whipped 1,000 times with the chain, they still going to still go for freedom. The people in the inner city, their freedom is money. So if they see there's money, they'll do whatever they have to do to get this freedom so that they can be free. But it doesn't always work like that
Mhm.
because for one, some of these people can't even count past a certain amount of money. You know what I mean? Or if they get chipped in the store, they won't know because you ain't even educated enough to know that they ain't even give you the proper change. You
Right.
know
Right.
what I mean? The parents have to be more educated. Some of them, and I'm not saying it's all of them. It is some parents in the inner city that's like, hey, like we need help, but some of them don't know where to turn to. That's why
Right.
we're here, so these guys could turn to us. But we try to, we come on shows like yourself, and we do urban facts, and I talk to kids that may come in the Ubers or parents that come in there, and we really just try to help these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Right.
you have to be um, educated enough to know that you have a problem. It's kind of like if you got like a substance abuse problem. Like the first step is to know you got a problem.
Right. Absolutely.
So if you don't know that, then you still don't think you have an issue. So if your kid is the terror on the block, then it's not your kid's fault. It's everybody on the block's fault. And you better not touch my kid because now you're gonna have to deal with me. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
And if these kids don't have the consequences from the parents, then as they get older, they're gonna start getting consequences from the police.
Right.
They're gonna start getting consequences from other people in the street. You understand what I'm saying? So it's really like a sad situation that really needs to be corrected, and we really need to, like, we have to come together more like a village, like you were saying. You know what I mean? Um,
What is some of the things that you would recommend or that your foundation does to help educate and make that change in parents so that they can influence their children?
well, like I just said, the number one thing is that you have to realize that you got a problem.
Mhm.
Because if you can't see that, I can give you all the books in the world, all the resources. I can give advice till I'm blue in the face. But if you don't think you have a problem, then that's not, that's not going to help.
Mhm.
So I try to, if I do talk about parenting, I let the parents know. Well, I refer them to like simple resources, like the Cosby Show. But these is like, I don't really watch TV nowadays. But like a lot of those old TV shows, like 227, The Jeffersons, The Cosby Show, um, I don't want to say all the family, uh, Family Matters, The Waltons, and things like that. Like they really taught family issues.
Family
And
issues
I'm
and values.
right, exactly. So I'm not really. I don't know what shows is on now. Like I was over a friend's house and they had what's that, P Valley or something like that. Like I don't know what that somebody's trying to teach somebody about uh, a guy running a strip club and he dressing up as a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's not
there
teaching.
isn't too many. I don't know of any TV show, but I'm not that much of a TV watcher either. I watch what I want to watch from DVR, but
Right,
I don't know of anything that has true family values that, like we did when we were growing up. There's nothing like nothing you could say truly, or hopefully they're not saying that I want to be just like them
right.
or that
But
it's possible for us.
well, that's you might not be saying that, but like I said, when these parents or the people are watching things like Power and um I guess like the family business and everything, and they see these
Hmm.
people living these lavish lifestyles, in the back of their mind, they're like, I want to be just like that. And then they have what's that, the Real Housewives of whatever city they may be from.
Right. Yeah.
That's not teaching, these young women anything either, but to just be
No.
ratchet. And if you don't have like respect for yourself, like first of all, if you don't have respect for yourself, it's kind of hard to teach respect to somebody else. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't care about me, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't have, started this foundation to help kids with. You
Hmm.
know, and it's things like, even like with the music. We used to have a song called what's that? I believe the children are the future. Like now the
Right.
songs, the rap songs now, like I don't even know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Because if it ain't talking about shooting somebody or lacing somebody with some type of drug to get sex,
With
or
sex. Yeah. Hmm.
drugs and everything, or your girl gotta have these little skimpy clothes on. And when the kids are listening to this is like, that's the sponge I'm talking about. Like this is the ink that's going inside of them. You know what I mean? And then the parents are so ignorant to the fact that you're now allowing this poison to go into your kid's brain. To
Right.
go into your kid's mental. Like when we were coming up, um, let me say about in the 80s. I guess that was like with Public Enemy and EPMD
Hmm.
and the rap. Like when rap first came out, um, rap first came out with like what's that there? Like scat music, like bebop and things like that, you know, because they kind of like rhymed in the, you know, in those particular songs or whatever like that. But when then groups like African Bambaataa and the Treacherous Three, like rap had a message like for the community. You know what I mean? Like with even with the Sugar Hill Gang with that line with the song White Lines, that was talking about the drugs that was you know, contaminating the community. Now these songs are now giving glory to drugs. It's like one of the groups, I can never remember their name, but they tell you in the rap song how to make cocaine, how to make crack.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? And with the kids listening to that, it's kind of hard to want to escape from the mess that's going on in the streets when you have these stars to these kids, you know, telling you that, hey, it's it's okay to sell drugs, or it's okay to, you know, beat on a woman or whatever like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because now they saying, hey, you know, if so and so saying it, then it must be cool. Because my
Right.
mom
Right.
ain't
Right.
telling me it's different. Matter of fact, I'm sitting there listening to my mom. That's why I heard the song from, because she listening to it, like he listening.
Right. 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 Right.
You know what I mean?
One of the things, the comments is, I believe that nowadays it's harder to shelter a child from the hood criminal lifestyle. With today's technology, those kind of things are glorified all over media and social platforms. And that is 100% facts.
And
Facts.
it may be, I wouldn't say
It's
quite 100%,
it's
because
No, I'm saying her statement is
right,
facts. That's what I'm
but
saying. Like it does make it a little more difficult because children today are exposed to so much. And I also believe that parents aren't
right,
monitoring
I was about to
like
say
they
that.
used to. Like for me, everywhere my son was, I had an account. Like what was
Right,
it? MySpace or something? Like I was right there with him. If you going to get on, I'm going to get on, and everything better be open to me. And then I was the type of mom that randomly I'll be like, let me see your phone.
right.
Let me see.
Like I did that with my kids, and I one of them was like, I don't even have social media, so she just deleted it, I guess. And the
Mm-hmm.
other ones was like, they ain't have nothing bad on it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, see, it's one thing where you have kids and you like, you know, in your mind that they not doing nothing crazy. I mean, you still gotta like check them or whatever like that.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? I mean, don't let them fool you, because they will try to get over on you.
And it could be somebody trying to get over on them.
Right. And it's another thing where you not checking nothing. Like I said, it's just the parent. Well, it's the caretaker and the person they gave birth to. Because for one thing, people put these labels on folks and don't know what they mean. Like they, you know, they enter these relationships with people and don't even know what they mean. So for one thing, to be a parent, you need to be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these parents aren't even adults. They just grown. So you know, if I catch somebody doing something wrong, and I say, hey, you ain't got no business doing that, and they say I'm grown, I say you're right, you are grown, because the definition of grown is a process of growth that has stopped.
Mm.
Now we know when people saying that, they trying to say like, like I'm a grown up, like I can do this, and they only saying this because 9 times out of 10, this is what their parents were saying. You know what I mean? Like my mom would say that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess her mom said it to her. I've heard my aunt say it to her kids, and it's an incorrect statement as far as the mentality of the person. Like you have to be an adult. Like my kids know the difference between an adult and being grown. So that's one thing about being a parent. So if you're not an adult, you don't even qualify to be. You can't even qualify to be a father or a mother. because you
Really?
gotta be an adult to do that. If you look up the definition, well, you had to look up like the psychological definition, to get the inter behaviors of how parents are supposed to act. So if you don't even recognize that you're an adult, you're not even functioning correctly as a parent. And these parents have to see that parenting has to be paramount. I mean, it's cool that you love your kid. Now, don't get me wrong. Every parent out here, everybody that gives birth, loves their offspring and their seed and things like that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it has to be more love that you want to see this kid develop into something greater.
Absolutely.
I used to do this thing on Facebook. It was well, should now it's just called question. And one of the questions was, um, would you be as fast to accept the wrongdoing that your kid did as you are when you accept the righteousness that your kid did? Like if they up on stage getting awards and hey, that's my baby, graduated 12th grade, and ain't nobody standing in the courtroom like, yeah, that's my baby, he just got life. Woo woo. And they were like, well, I tried my.
Mm-mm.
Some people can't say that,
Right. Right.
because just like when Pilate washed his hands, he said, I ain't got nothing to do with the death of this man, talking about Jesus.
Mhm.
Some of these parents can't even do that because they don't even have blood on their hands. You dig what I'm saying? Like, to wash your hands actually got to be
Be
dirty.
dirty. Right. Right. Right.
And to get your hands dirty, you got to actually do work. Some of these parents out here aren't doing the work
Mhm. Mhm.
to properly parent, or to say, I did my best. And you can't say that. And the rate that these kids are going now, like I just said, is 2 14-year-old children in the Philadelphia criminal justice system right now, today, right now as we speak, on trial for murder.
Mm.
Now, when they interviewed the mom of one of the individuals, the mom said, well, these is good kids. And see, remember when I was talking about dysfunction?
Mhm.
In the back of her mind, these are good kids because that's what she know. Like, if when they was out at 2 o'clock in the morning, she was out at 2 o'clock in the morning at 14. So like like some people say, if my mom let me do that, then it's good enough for you. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, your mom wrong too.
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
my mom used to make she used to burn like baked macaroni and cheese like every time she made it. My brother loved it. I hated it. So when she made it, it was, I mean, it wasn't burnt like, yeah, it'd be like black, dark brown and
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
black
Fix
spots.
it up. Fix it up.
No, it was burnt. So I would have to like peel the top off to get the
Mhm.
noodles at the bottom. And in the back of my mind, I was like, well, that's my mom. So that obviously must be how you make that. You know what I mean? So one day, me and my cousin went to his sister's house, and his sister was making baked macaroni and cheese. So she had this very big pot, like one of the big pots there, and she was stirring these the noodles and the cheese in the pot. And I was like, well, what y'all making? She's like, I'm making baked macaroni and cheese. I was like, no, that's stovetop macaroni and cheese. Like you get out the pack.
Right. Right.
And she was like, boy, go ahead. When you come back, I'll let you taste it. And man, when I came back, that was like the best baked macaroni and cheese I ever had in my life. But I had to see the correct way of doing it to know that what my mom was doing was wrong.
Mhm.
You dig what I'm saying? And what these parents have to see is they just have to see the correct way of somebody doing it. For
Right,
them to
right,
know that what their parents was doing is wrong. Like you can't let your kids out like it's a curfew. Like my kids in the house right now, I ain't gotta worry about where they at. One of them might be at the store, but they only got 5 minutes because the store closed at 8 o'clock. Like when I go outside to do Uber like 2:45, all of them sleep.
right.
In the summertime, around 2:45 on Fridays, I'm picking up people's kids,
Mm,
children, minors. You know what I mean? Like when they had COVID and everything was locked down, like I picked up a group of minors coming from an underground club in West Philly, 4 o'clock in the morning.
mm,
You know, as a pandemic, the whole city shut down. But just like with the kids on June 24th, the parents let them sneak out
right, right.
because, like my pastor told me, old habits is hard to break. So they wasn't sneaking out. Those 7 kids walked past their parents when they walked one out the house. You did what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't shocked. Or even when she, like if you would have woke up, like if my kids, if I was, I wake up and I noticed the kids wasn't there and it's like 2 o'clock, I'll be like in the frantic or whatever like that. But these parents, they just calling on the phone saying, hey, where you at? And when they say where they at, oh, I'm with TJ and them. All right, well, be safe and make sure you let me know when it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, what you mean be safe?
Yeah, that would never wash. That
Yeah,
would
like
never
I
wash
never.
with my parents. It wouldn't wash with my child.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you in dysfunction, you
You
don't
think it's
know.
normal.
You think
Mm-hmm.
it's normal, and this is what some of these parents are at. And I feel sorry for them because um their bad parenting is affecting somebody else. Like bad parenting killed Tiffany Fletcher.
Mm.
That's the recreation worker that died in West Philly a couple weeks ago.
Mm.
Bad parenting killed James Lambert. You know what I mean? Bad parenting killed that 41-year-old lady out in Florida. You know what I mean? You
Right.
parents out here, if you're struggling with parenting, you need to call somebody. Pick up a book. Put the Cosby Show on or something. Like you can't say, like I've had somebody tell me that the way my mom brought me up was good, but then in the same sentence told me that her and her mom don't speak. Like that don't make sense to me.
Right.
Like I had a disagreement with one of my kids. So we about to go in. Let me
Yes, we are.
know. So this child was mad at me about something that I ain't even know I did. So, I said, hey, that's not fair to me because I don't know what's happening. You got to at least tell me what's going on so we can resolve it. So, long story short, she wanted me to tell her, like everything that I'm doing, so she get abreast of it. And I said, well, you're not going to know everything that I know. Like, I'm sure it's some things about you that I don't know. And I said, well, tell me 3 things that you haven't told me. She paused for a second and she said, I can't. And I said, well, why not? She said, that's because I tell you everything. And I was shocked. Like these kids shock me like every day. And I was like, she jetted off or whatever like that. And I was like in disbelief because I ain't tell Bonnie everything at all because she was crazy. But this is the type of relationship that you should be able to have with your kids.
Absolutely. Open
Right.
communication, trust, being dependable, knowing that they can count on you.
Right.
Like you're going to show up because even in the realm of discipline, kids still appreciate it.
Right.
They may not like it at the time, but they sure enough going to appreciate it.
Right.
So, but this has been a very good conversation. Hopefully I can get you back just to talk more about it. It was like pulling teeth just to get you here in the first place. But hey, you know how friends do you.
Well, we just been just really busy,
I know, I
and I
know. I'm
know
just
you've been
joking
trying
with
to
you,
get
bro.
us on here, but um, the
Tell
way
the
we
people how they can get involved. What can they do
um
to
to well,
get
the number
involved?
one thing, if you guys want to get involved, we have a parenting forum on Facebook. It's ELZ parenting forum, and we want you guys to join the group. We have experienced parents on there, like it's resources on there, like textbooks, that you can use for parenting. People put up questions in regards to issues that they haven't. A young lady told me, and this was kind of deep. I sent, because I sent out the invite, and somebody replied back and said, "All my kids is grown, and I have grandchildren." This is how, and I'm not trying to attack this person, but this is how ignorant, and I'm not saying that she ignorant. She just ignorant in the relationship of being a parent. Like, parenting doesn't stop. And let me just put a little nugget out there for the grandparents. Your grand means higher than everything else. Like, if you get, like, if Kim has a grand piano and I got a piano, her piano is a little bit more fancier, a little bit more up to date. Like, it could do certain more things than my piano could do.
Right.
So the grandparents are over the parents of the kids. So they don't, like, the grandparents trump the parents, as long as they telling their grandkids something morally correct. But in some cases, some of these parents are so fast to let their kids go because the kids are so out of control that they can't wait till they turn 18. But you have to realize that grandparents in that village, because that it takes a village to raise a child, is the African proverb. And in that village, it was many families in there. And if you're not really familiar with how that works, check out Roots. The first episode of Roots shows exactly how that proverb works. You know what I mean? So I just want to thank you, Kim, for allowing me on here, so we can share our vision with with your community. And it was definitely a pleasure. And I would definitely look forward to being on again.
Absolutely. Now, you said that was ELZ Parenting Forum. Is
Right.
that on? Is that like a
That's
website?
it's on
What is that?
Facebook. So if you
Okay.
type that in your Facebook search, it'll come on.
Is it a group or a page?
It's a group. So you can, ask to join. There's some questions that you gotta ask, and depending on the questions, they'll accept your membership. And we have questions because we want parents that actually want to have the help and want to help other people, because it's very serious. Like, we can't help these kids if they getting bad parenting. We can have a whole session with kids, telling them how to be a child of good character, and go home, and all that'll go out the window if they home with dysfunction and bad parenting. So and please don't be ashamed. Like, I'm not sitting here like I'm the grand wizard of parenting. Like, I done did. I mean, I know our time running out, but one of my kids was acting up, and we was going in the car wash, and I was like, "Get out," and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Get out my car right now." So she got out and walked into the parking lot. Her sister turned around and said, "Way to go, Dad. You really doing something, great parenting." I mean, she was being sarcastic, but these kids know when you messing up, and you have to be humble enough to know that you messing up. The scary thing for me to happen in that situation was we couldn't find her for like a couple of minutes. So in the back of my mind, I was like, her mother's about to kill me. But she was just being, she was being smart, hiding behind the car or whatever like that. And thank God that nothing happened. But you have to be humble enough to accept advice, even when it's coming from your kids.
Absolutely.
If you need
I
help,
remember
please ask.
I did that one time. So you're not alone. I had to put my son out. You probably did a better job. I did it at King of Prussia. Get out. Find your own way home. But sometimes they push you there, but you're never really going to leave them. You just need a minute. You need to teach
Right,
a lesson. It's a life lesson that to me is being taught. And to be quite frank, the kind of conversation we was having at that time, we never had again.
right. Because it's just you just want to set consequences for those kids, so they
Exactly.
know that hey, I'm not going to do that again.
So give the people where they can find you if they want to get in touch with you.
Well, you can contact me at elzfnd@outlook.com. That's the email for the foundation. You can go to the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation's Facebook page. You can reach out to us there. The parenting group. Like I said, I do a show called Urban Facts on Thursdays. This Thursday, we'll be talking. The topic is my mama used to say, we actually got the title from the song in the 80s
Hmm.
by a gentleman. I think his name was Gerard Jarrell or something like that. And the song was just basically talking about the things that his mom used to tell him when he was younger. You
Good
know,
advice.
right. So you can check us out there. We're on Twitter. It's the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation. Instagram, the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation.
Is it the full word or they just type
Right.
that in? They should be able to find it.
The Ethel
Okay.
Lee Zachary Foundation. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah, because like we said, we really just want to help these people to, get better at, this thing called parenting. So, so their
Absolutely.
kids can see that they have a brighter future. We don't
Absolutely.
want to see kids
Absolutely.
sitting in CJC, whatever, CFCF,
Hmm.
at 12, they should be sitting in a classroom. And then at 18, they should be sitting at their high school graduation waiting to go to college.
Right. Right. Well, I definitely appreciated you, my brother, for coming out. I was pleasantly surprised to get the phone call to say I'm ready, I can do it. So I do appreciate you. You're someone that I hold dear to my heart. You've been a blessing to my family, at least to me, my family through me, because you've
Mhm.
prayed for us, you supported us from afar with everything that we had gone through last year. So I do truly, truly count you as a dear close friend. And everybody else, join us next week at 7 p.m. live with at Let's Just Talk with Kim. I'm on every social media platform at Let's Just Talk with Kim, and I will see you real soon. Bye.